Jaron Boots Ennis got the win over Karen Chukhadzhian for a second time, but a lot of questions are now being asked about him because in this fight, he did get hit a lot, and it was something that none of us were really expecting. We saw the same thing against David Avanesyan, and now questions are being asked about his quality at the top level. Will he get hit too much if he fights somebody like Terence Crawford? Can he actually go on to be an elite level fighter and have the Hall of Fame career that many people believe his level of talent deserves? In this video, I'm going to be analysing and dissecting why Boots is getting hit so damn much at the moment in his fights. Hello everyone, welcome back to a guy called Henry. Guys, as you know, Boots Ennis beat Chukhadzhian. We're going to call him Karen for this video because it's just easier for me to say. Apologies for my overly anglicised tongue. But that is what we're going with. We're going to call him Karen. And Boots managed to get the win. But a lot of you weren't too happy with some of my comments after the fight. I was very, very critical of Boots. And I just want to say that the reason I'm so critical of him is because I expect so much. I think this guy is an unbelievable talent, and as such, I'm going to judge him as an unbelievable talent. And in this fight, I felt that it was way closer than it should have been, and indeed, I felt he got hit very, very often, and I felt the way he was getting hit was kind of sloppy. So in this video, what we're going to do is, I was going to say I'm going to do it very quickly. As you all know by now, I don't tend to do things very fast. But I'm going to go through and just break down some of the reasons why he got clipped time and time again in this fight. I think Boots is absolutely amazing. I think he's fantastic. I want him to go and have an incredible career. So I'm cheering for him. I want him to do well. But I'm also going to be objective. And I believe there's many levels for him to go through in terms of the way he performs in the ring. And right now, he wants guys like Terence Crawford. He's nowhere near that level based on these performances anyway. So we'll have a look at them. We'll see what's going wrong. And then I'm going to show you when it went well for him and how I think moving forward he can improve. Before I get into this one, guys, don't forget to like the video. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. By the way, with the liking thing, please like the video if you do enjoy it, because it really does help the channel to grow. It helps to get the video out there to new viewers. And obviously, we're a growing channel. I'm doing my best in my spare time that I have to make these videos, but it is time consuming. So please do like the video. Do subscribe if you're new, and get in the comments section below. How did you feel Jaron Ennis performed, and where do you think he's at? Do you think he's going to be an elite level fighter, or do you think he's just sort of world class and this is the, this kind of crest of the way for him? So, just to give you a bit of context, this is round one, and this is the first moment where Chukhadzhian, or Karen as we're going to call him, landed something really significant on Boots. And Boots in this fight was switching between orthodox and southpaw, and particularly when he was in southpaw, Karen did something that worked very, very well for him, which was the counter left hook. And it's a shot that he caught Boots with multiple times in this fight. I'm not working off the DAZN highlights video here. I don't even think it shows all the left hooks he landed, but we'll definitely look at some of the more significant ones. But you watch here as I edge it forward. Boots fires that jab, and it comes up short. Something Karen did well in this fight was he moved his feet a lot, and you can see there's a decent gap between their feet there, and Boots' jabs just come up short there on the gloves. But the thing that happens next is the issue. That southpaw jab needs to be coming back to his chin. But what happens when I edge it? You see the finishing position there. It's down at his hips. Now, from this gap, that's not a problem. That's not an issue when they're this far apart, but Karen's downloading the information, plus he's already had a whole fight with Boots, so he knows that Boots has a tendency to have his hands a bit low and a bit loose. So as you take it forward to the next time this happens, the next sequence, so this time when Boots jabs, watch, as the jab goes, Boots steps in and gets his foot to the outside. So he's in range now, and the idea with that is to be able to bring your backhand into play, to be able to throw combinations. And finally in this sequence, Karen times and counters Boots. So Boots steps in again with the jab, gets his foot there. This time he decides he's going to throw the backhand. You can see he's cocked it, it's ready to go. But watch what Chukhadzhian's doing. He's taken his head off the center line, so just to the side of the jab, and you can see already as he's done that, he's winding up that left hook there. So watch, as we go forward, boom, he lands that absolutely clean on Boots. Absolutely clean. It's a lovely shot, and you can see Boots falls off balance there. Boots' shot indeed landing on Karen's shoulder only. So that's a very, very good counter left hook, and it's this concept of throwing as your opponent throws. And a general comment that I want to make about Boots' performance here is that he was very, very bludgeoning. He was very much looking at what was straight in front of him. He didn't create angles. And I felt that he was very impatient in this fight to get the knockout. He just went about his work in a very, very aggressive fashion. He wasn't very cute. He didn't really set things up. And I'll show you what happened when he did show a little bit more patience and let Karen get his work off first. But right now, we're going to focus on why Boots was getting hit so much. Here we are again, exactly the same thing here. And to give Karen his credit, I thought his feet in this fight were particularly good. But you see, it's hard to see from this angle, but there's a bit of a space between them there. And Karen's very light on his feet here, and you just see he just lifts, he just does a little hop into range. As he does that little hop, Boots throws the jab. But as he throws the jab, you can see Karen gets his head off to the side. So he's just moved his head over this way, taking his head off the center line. And that jab is there. Now, again, as I said before, Boots' jab is coming back low. His jab hand's come back low. So as it's come back low, you can see as Karen throws this hook over the top, Boots' jab hand is down here. And in terms of the foot position, I can't quite see where Boots' lead foot is, but it'll be around here somewhere, so he's in range. And Karen swings that in and boom, cracks him right on the chin. And it was exactly the same situation again. Jab, moves his head within the center line, off the jab line, and then he just pings that left hook over the top at the same time. And from that position, you're never going to generate loads of power on the left hook, but also Boots' chin is exceptional. This one's a bit tricky to see. I'll try and zoom a little bit on it, but you can see here that Karen's back, Boots up to the ropes here. Their feet aren't too far apart. And as I edge it forward, this is just an example of where I feel that, you know, Boots' guard is just not tight enough. So very simple setup. Flourishes the jab and then throws the straight right hand. It goes straight down the middle and hits Boots on the chin. And yeah, that's early in the fight as well. So it's not like I can say, oh, Boots is really tired here and he's a little lethargic. It's just kind of lazy defense. And I do suspect that his chin is that good that he relies on it to a point where he can get hit but continues to just break other people down because he's so big and strong at the weight. I was chatting with my coach Tay about this yesterday, and he was saying to me he reckons that the dude has got such a good chin in the gym, he's used to breaking people down, but in the pros it's not quite the same thing. And it's an interesting point. It's something worth thinking about. But for sure in this fight, you know, he trusts his chin, and I think he maybe relies on it a bit too much, and I think this is worth pointing out now before he goes to that next level. Again here, they've had a little bit of a coming together. Karen's moving back, Boots is pursuing, and that was very much the pattern of the fight. You know, Boots walking forward, Karen trying to find his moments to come forward, but mostly trying to create a gap between himself and Boots for counter-punching and throwing in between Boots' shots. But again, you know, and it all comes from Boots being in this southpaw stance and his hand being low. I think you can see both his hands are low there. They're definitely not at his chin. And as he comes forward here, again, Karen gets his head off the center line. So because his head is out here, he's moved it from there to there, he's off the line of the jab, so he doesn't have to worry too much about that being extended. Even if it comes out, he's okay. As he slings this shot in, he catches Boots in the face, and Boots catches Karen a little bit too, as you can see. But Boots' shot, I think, significantly less damaging there. And then Karen covers up well. But again, it all came off getting his head off the center line, whether it was inside or outside, and taking that southpaw jab away so that he could throw his own shots. Because Boots was in range constantly because he was applying so much foot pressure because he wanted to bludgeon, he wanted to be close, he wanted to try and overwhelm Karen. Another nice shot here from Karen, but this time you can see, you know, even though Boots has got his guard up, it doesn't seem to matter, and Karen just slings in that hook. It's almost like, obviously, when he throws it, the jab hand's not, the lead jab hand is not there for guard anymore, and it's almost like Karen knows it's going to go. Like, it's like every time he throws at Boots, Boots almost invites it. So he as Boots steps in, that hand drops slightly, and then there's a space clear for the chin there. And he just throws it around, and he sort of starts it off as a jab and then turns it at the last moment. So again, not hugely powerful. Boots rides the shot, so it's no problem. But again, he gets caught with a clean scoring shot. Now, switch it to the other side. This time, you can see Boots is in orthodox, but it's exactly the same principle again. Because his guard is just loose after he throws. So he fires in an orthodox jab. And again, Karen's head is off the center line. You can see, I'll take it to there. Boots' hand has gone straight over the top. Karen's head is there. And his right hand is here. So once again, he swings around. And it's a good shot. You know, it's a very good punch. And of course, from there, Boots is in the pocket. They fire his combinations back. But even when he's in orthodox, it's the same principle, just the other way around. And really, that right hook should be a lot harder to land than the left hook because by nature of standing in orthodox, your right foot is at the back, therefore your right hand has further to travel. It should be harder for him to land it, but because Ennis is so willingly walking into Karen's space, landing those counters was quite straightforward for him. You know, there wasn't many foot feints from Ennis. There wasn't much indecision created with his foot movement. He wasn't creating those little half spaces to make room, to make Karen fall short of his counters even. So It was just all very, very straight up and down, very one-paced, a very fast pace. But once you're used to that pace, which Karen would be because he's already done 12 rounds with Boots, you know, you can take it away from them with timing and with counters. Now this here is nice work from Karen again. So as Boots steps into range here, Karen just makes him pause for a moment by extending the straight arm. And you can see again, Boots is in southpaw. Karen's got a very wide stance here. So, you know, if you're Boots and you pressure him here, he could lose balance quite easily, but he's really loaded that back leg. Boots has got the guard up here, and, you know, something I was encouraging him to do in the fight was have that guard up a bit more. But as Karen takes a step back and he refines his stance, as he lands here, he's ready to throw. And, you know, Boots is an odd one because, again, this looks like a good position for me with the guard. You know, he's got both his hands up at his chin. I would expect him to catch or block any shots that come from there, any singles in particular. And Karen lands and he just throws the right hand straight away. But you can see what Boots does here. He sort of dips down to the side. It's almost like, I think he's dipping probably to throw a body hook, because that's what he was doing a lot in this fight, was getting inside, dipping and throwing those body shots. As he dips, Karen chucks that right hand in and he catches him clean in the face there. And indeed, yeah, you can see Boots has thrown the left uppercut. You see his left hand there. So what he was doing was, if I wind it back, he comes in, dips, he's going to throw the left uppercut, but because Karen throws that right hand, at the moment he dips, it catches him perfectly. And it's good timing from Karen, but again, Boots leading off, getting him into trouble, impatience, not drawing mistakes from your man. In a minute, I'll show you when Boots did it well and what happened, and it's something I want to see him do more, but let me just finish off showing you these defensive errors. Another good moment from Karen here, you know, feet close together. Karen really doesn't want to be in that zone. There's no space to counterpunch from there. Boots is pursuing him. So what he does is he takes a step back, and it's the same idea again. As he plants his feet, he looks to throw. So feet land, he dips down. This is something you see Beterbiev do a lot in this sort of pocket of space here. He dips down, and from that dip, because your legs are bent, you've loaded them up. You can create you can attack from a slightly greater distance, even though there is a bit of a gap between them. You wouldn't just throw from there without moving your feet. He can actually launch from there. And the great thing about this position here is watch. See how he flourishes that left hand just ever so slightly there. Left hand is flourished ever so slightly. So you don't know if he's going to throw this. You don't know if he's going to throw this. And he's going to cover that gap very, very quickly. And because Boots is just marching into range constantly, rather, you know, if your Boots here, just take a little half step back. Make the space, make him miss, counter him. Karen lunges in, and he throws that straight right, and he catches him clean on the chin again. And I think a lot of this, as I said before, is down to Boots just constantly marching forwards. The final thing I'll show you in terms of Boots' defense being poor is this round 12 sequence. Boots really pushing it. You know, he wants to stoppage. He wants to make a statement. I think that might have been a big part of why he got caught so much tonight. Over-eager. There's the weight to consider as well and all these other things, but for now, we'll just go off of what we see technically. Puts the jab out, which catches Karen there, but as it catches Karen, it's not enough that it's going to stop him from throwing. So he catches Karen. Karen immediately fires that left hook and catches Boots clean on the chin. And again, if that's a hard punch, if that's a power puncher, if that's someone who can really pop, it might be a different result, but Boots eats that, no problem. And he's obviously got a good chin, Boots. I think that is certainly clear at this point, but even with someone with a good chin doesn't want to get hit this much. You don't want to wear these shots, you know, later in your career. You know, you will feel the damage of this eventually. But then that sequence continues, and you can see Boots gets hit with multiple shots here. So straight right hand goes there, and Boots just trying to turn his head to sort of ride the shots. Left hook, Boots actually gets his guard up there, so that's good. Right hook, misses. Left hook again, Boots catches it a little bit, but it kind of gets round the guard, so it does catch him in the head again there a little bit. And finally, Boots throws that jab again, and Karen Chukhadzhian, fires straight over the top. And it's all to do with that thing I talked about all through the video, Karen getting his head off the center line. Again, you just see here, literally it's just the smallest movement, just from there to there. And boom, he gets it in over the top. And it's because Boots commits with every shot that he throws. It's very rare that you see him just touch with the jab, you know, keep his balance and pull out. And then you see another hook there from Chukhadzhian because Boots has got his hands low. But it's very, very rare that you see Boots varying the speed of his attacks, you know, not loading up quite so much all the time. And it just creates opportunities for Chukhadzhian to counter constantly. Now, those are the errors that I see. Those are the flaws. I think that Ennis was just so overeager in this fight. I want to show you what happened when he wasn't quite so overeager and he timed things a little bit better. So this is evidence that you can still pour forward, but also allow your opponent to make mistakes. So as Boots is coming forward here, pressuring Chukhadzhian. Chukhadzhian was on the back foot, as I was just saying. In position to throw. Boots has got his hands in a good position here. As Chukhadzhian throws, Boots just gets his head off the center line. He dips to the side. And what he's done here is he's created an opportunity because that is there. His hand is not at his chin. This hand is quite low. Chukhadzhian's defense is not perfect, guys. Moves his feet very well. But I just felt that Boots played into what Chukhadzhian wanted him to do. So Chukhadzhian throws that shot and then Boots fires over the top and catches him clean on the chin. That's a lovely shot from Boots there. Really good stuff. And it happens as soon as Boots allows Chukhadzhian to lead off. And that is something I think he needed to do more. Just let him lead off. Be a little bit more patient. You can still apply that foot pressure. Make him feel like he needs to punch to get you off him. But just don't always be the one leading off. This is the next phase here. And you can see, facing off, Chukhadzhian's just backing off ever so slightly. Karen dips his head to the side, like he's been doing all fight. Gets to the side of that jab on the inside. Goes to throw the right hand, but this time, Boots steps in. So because he's stepped in, you can see that's going around the back of his head. And as Boots steps in here, he throws his own hook over the top, and that's a powerful shot. And Boots has got a lot more power than Karen does, so he's going to win those exchanges. And when he's able to make those counter shots pay, when Karen can't see them coming, they're the shots that are really going to hurt him. But again, it was anticipating Karen's counter to then counter that. And it was something Boots didn't do enough in this fight. That's a good example of him making Karen's counter work against him. And Boots actually made it work for him really well there. From there, Boots backs him up onto the ropes and he's throwing short shots. Karen's really just got his guard up here because he's quite badly hurt. Touches the ropes. Boots throws the jab there. Karen dips down, probably a little bit too low. And then Boots comes in with that lovely uppercut. Catches him clean on the chin. And from there, Karen's forced to take a knee. And that, for me, was Boots' best sequence of the fight. I won't go into any more detail than that today, guys. But for me, I think that the keys in this fight were, as I said before, Karen moving his feet really well, timing the counters really, really well, working off that southpaw jab of Boots. And for me, the big changes for Boots would be looking to counterpunch a little bit more, not always leading off. Sure, apply that front foot pressure. But, like Canelo does, you've got to move at your hips a little bit more than that. And you've got to make sure that you're not leaving things out there or leaving your hands in positions that allow someone like Karen to counter. So he's in. Look, Chukhadzhian's not the fastest fighter. And luckily, he's not the biggest puncher either. So Boots got away with it. Boots did win the fight. But those bludgeoning tactics, I'm sure that the corner instructions of just get him out of there, just get him out of there, played into this dynamic of rushing his work and trying to just bludgeon him and walk him down and walk straight through him and overpower him. Now, maybe this is something he's able to do in the gym and it's something he's done at a lower level, but as you go through the levels, you can't do this to good opponents. And obviously the best way to slow someone down who's doing that is to hit them, and he got hit too much. So I'm very intrigued to see what Boots does next. If he ends up going to 54, I think that'd be a great move in terms of my excitement. There's so many better fights from at 54 in terms of names and in terms of exciting matchups. But I just really want to see Boots fulfill his potential. And I felt like he came into this fight with an unbelievably basic game plan, and there was no real nuance to it. So, and to be fair to him, Karen fought a very different fight, but you've got to be able to adapt on the fly in the ring, especially against some of these elite level guys. As I say, his name's been put with Crawford's a lot, and Crawford is a guy who will show you multiple different looks in the ring, and he's a very, very accurate puncher, and he punches hard. So, yeah, I think Boots needs to improve a lot, and I think it's all down to technical shortcomings at the moment and tactical shortcomings. I think physically, I think he has absolutely everything. Maybe he's a bit tight at 47. If so, let's see him at 54. But anyway, that's it, guys. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If so, subscribe, like, and get in the comment section below. What do you think that Boots should do next? And were you impressed with Karen? I thought he actually boxed really well. And as I always say, guys, on to the next one.